So sleep's like fascinating. I didn't realize until I kind of like came across it in my training, just like how important sleep is. We know a lot of mental illness affects sleep, and if we all know what it's like, if you're not sleeping, it's really hard to function.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we are talking about sleep and everything related to it, including problems with sleep and also solutions to those problems. So I'm not qualified at all to talk to you about this, but I know someone who is. His name is Dr. Comeau. He is a psychiatrist out of Victoria, BC, and he's going to be telling us everything we need to know. Number one, he's going to be discussing what do we do when we can't fall asleep at night, and then jump right into whether or not cannabis and other recreational drugs should be used in the treatment of things like insomnia. And finally, he's going to teach us how to optimize our sleep efficiency through sleep hygiene techniques. It's a great conversation. I learned a ton, and I'm actually implementing stuff already. I think you're going to learn a ton too. So enjoy and let me know what you learned.
So if we start to have a few nights where we're not really sleeping very well, we can start to worry about that, oh my goodness, like, am I going to sleep tonight? What if I don't fall asleep in time? Will I be able to function tomorrow? And so that in and of itself, those thoughts, what they do is they actually produce anxiety in us. And so that kind of that fight or flight response can kind of happen. That's actually the opposite of being able to fall asleep. To be able to fall asleep, we need our rest and digest. So our parasympathetic nervous system, their head hits the pillow and they're not tired. And like, oh my God, I've been sitting here for an hour, 2 hours. I've people who, 4 hours, 5 hours. They're just worrying. Perfect time to really ruminate and worry is when we're not busy, and then all of a sudden we're kind of in our bed and we can just lay there and start thinking about, whatever. Some people it's initial insomnia, so difficulty falling asleep. Some people it's middle insomnia, so they just wake up, whether it's they have to urinate or they're kicking, restless legs. And then some people have terminal insomnia, so they wake up at like 4 a.m. and they're just kind of ready to go, and despite only having maybe 5 or 6 hours sleep. And that can be a feature of depression, actually, is this early morning awakening.
I know we were talking the other day about how one thing you can do is try and associate the context of your bedroom with what it's supposed to be for. I read that out of a book, just meaning that, like, if your bedroom is meant for sleeping and sex, those are the only two things you should be doing there. And if you start like going on your phone, swiping on Instagram, checking likes, like that, it's probably not the best thing to be doing in your bedroom, because then it essentially breaks that context.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's that it's called stimulus control. So it's like the Pavlovian. They had a dog, and you give them some meat and start to salivate, and then you start to, with the meat, you have a bell ringing, and then what you do is you do that multiple times, and then eventually you get rid of the meat and you just ring the bell, and the dog still salivates. Kind of do that with bed. This idea of, okay, I see the bed, like I have a routine, I'm getting into bed, laying down on the pillow. You start to associate it with sleep. But the problem is, for some people, it becomes associated with worry. I'm not going to sleep. This is going to be terrible. I'm not going to function. That kind of thing. So we try to break that link, and it can really help.
Interesting.
It's actually like the primary treatment for insomnia.
Yeah, so it's not medicine then, hey?
Well, some people do need that initially, but ideally, and the goal really should be eventually weaning people off of their sleep medications if possible, and doing that with your doctor.
I know another thing, especially with Canada now legalizing cannabis, people are considering using that to help them sleep. Do you have any comments on that at all?
What do you think?
What do I think? Probably not a good idea. Then again, I've never dabbled in the cannabis, so again, I'm probably biased in that way. But
it will make you, for some people, sleepy. There's different strains of cannabis. So there's sativa, which is more stimulating, and then there's indica, which is more of the calming. And so people tend to use that at night. Calms you down, worry less, fall asleep. And it generally, the problem becomes when you start doing that repeatedly, because what happens is your body kind of adjusts and gets used to having that. And so it almost like needs it. They're waking up at 3 a.m. sometimes, kind of in like a panic. And that's probably because they're going into withdrawal in the middle of the night. And so what happens is people might start using it. And, that's kind of like with a lot of substance use. It's recreational. You kind of use it here and there. But it becomes a problem once it's used for other reasons. If it's treating anxiety, if it's treating insomnia or depression to get kind of the euphoria, it's more prone to becoming addictive. Yeah, we don't recommend.
Mm-hmm.
We don't recommend using cannabis. Short-term gain, long-term pain kind of thing.
If people are saying, okay, frick, now I can't use my cannabis to go to sleep, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Again, we want to think long-term. How can we build a healthy sleep hygiene routine that is going to at least increase our chances of getting a good night's sleep?
Yeah. Well, first of all, don't say, frick, I'm not going to be able to sleep. And have kindness and compassion towards yourself. But seriously, just kind of, okay, like, this is where I'm at right now. Okay, like, I'm not sleeping well. Like, I need this. It's going to take some time. I'm going to start cutting back, and eventually, in the long term, my sleep will come back for me. So that's the first thing, is just kind of like that cognitive part, like the thinking, like don't catastrophize about it. And then of course there's the whole other aspect of it. So the first thing, most important thing, is wake up at the same time every morning.
Weekends too?
Weekends too.
Oh man.
Yeah, imagine so it's a weekend and you decide, okay, I'm gonna sleep in. It's basically like giving yourself a jet lag.
It's true.
You're almost like changing a time zone. If you're like waking up like 2-3 hours later, you're basically shifting time zones. So it's kind of hard on your body in the sense that there's two things that are happening. So when we wake up, we start to develop this thing called S drive, which is our sleep drive. And you got to think of it like an appetite for sleep. So as the day goes on, our appetite for sleep increases. And if we have a nap, and we should probably only nap for maybe like 30 minutes if we do. But if you have a nap, it kind of like cuts into that appetite. Yeah. And then when, it comes 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever, you may not have that appetite. And so your body may not naturally kind of need that sleep. People like have a hard time with this, but don't go to bed until you're sleepy. So the natural wisdom of your body telling you, okay, your sleep drive's going up, your appetite, and then your circadian drives, your C drive, which is the release of melatonin, which is affected by day and night, that you want those to kind of sync up at the same time. If you're not tired till 2 a.m, don't go to bed until 2 a.m. If that's what it means.
What you're saying is that I have to wake up at the same time every morning, but I don't have to go to bed at the same time every night.
It's tough to do. You wake up and it's like super dark, living up, here in Canada. It's kind of like a tough sell, right?
Yeah.
By going through that process, like you're going to feel tired, but what you're doing is, you could imagine if you go to bed at 2 a.m. and then you wake up at 6 a.m., you're going to be tired. Your sleep drive is going to be higher, and so your push to sleep the next night is going to be that much more.
And you're going to sleep earlier.
You're going to sleep earlier, and it's going to happen little bit by bit, and it happens, it happens over weeks. And the last thing I kind of say is like with sleep efficiency, this idea to get 85% sleep efficiency. So what that is time sleeping over time in bed. And ideally we want it to be 85% of the time that we're in bed sleeping. So this idea of, like laying in bed, and we've all been there, where it's just kind of like sitting there and like you just kind of know it's not going to happen. If 20 minutes rolls by to half an hour and you're like, I'm not falling asleep, the best thing to do is just get up, get out of bed, go and do something. Don't do something too boring because your mind may just continue racing, but don't do anything that's too stimulating either, because that'll just kind of rev you up a bit. So something in the middle. For some people, it could be a crossword or just kind of like an easy read kind of thing. And then wait until you start feeling sleepy again. And at that point, close it, go back into bed and try again.
So far we have wake up every time, or wake up at the same time every morning, which is the one I'm going to be implementing. I'm 100% doing that. Go to bed when you're sleepy. And then maximize your sleep efficiency by having kind of a backup plan. If you're not falling asleep, go do something that's not too stimulating, not too boring, something in the middle, like reading a book until you do feel sleepy, and then go back to bed.
Exactly.
2 very important things. Number 1, if there is someone you know that could benefit from this video, please share it with them. It could make a big difference in their life. Number 2, if you like this video and you want to see more like it, well, you know what to do. It starts with an S, ends with an E, rhymes with mablib. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.